Hey everybody, it's Chris Eads, known online as Wootini, here with another Gay Gamer video podcast. It's that time of year again. It's time for Eurovision. Last week, Eurovision held in the Ukraine this year, because they won last year. It was spectacular, as always, and I'm so excited now that I got my husband into it. I got him into it a couple years ago. He got intrigued, and then last year he was with me from the start. We listened to the album, listened to all the songs, prepped, watched the semifinals, and we went out and we watched the finals in a bar with a crowd, and it was great fun, although their sound wasn't great, I remember, so I was like, So I was a little happy this year that it was on Logo again, so I could just watch it from my couch at home, because in New York it was pouring rain all day, and I did not want to have to go outside. It was disgusting. So that was good. The only problem with Logo running Eurovision is that they block the YouTube channel now. Before, you could watch the semifinals and the finals on YouTube. So it would be great. I could watch it on my TV. It was fine. Except last year, because now Logo has the broadcast rights for the United States, the YouTube channels are blocked in America. It used to be fine because you couldn't watch it on broadcast here, so you could just, that YouTube was fine. But the problem is that Logo does not air the semifinals. And they don't even stream the semifinals on their YouTube channel, which would be fine if they could allow that. But they don't. So the semifinals, and you used to be able to, last year you could watch the semifinals on the Eurovision website on their own player. It wasn't very good, but it was something. This year they just embedded the official YouTube stream, so that was out. So I had to find alternative websites that streamed the Eurovision Song Contest so that I could watch it here, and I had to sit at the computer and watch it, which is not as comfortable as sitting on my couch and watching it on the TV. And also the problem is that my cable system does not get Logo in high def, so it doesn't look as good as it should, which is disappointing. But it was a great show. I had a lot of great songs. This year there was no like standout favorite that I was pushing for the whole time. I had a bunch of songs that I liked. Sweden's was terrific. Shallow as a Puddle, but really catchy and fun. If you wanted something with a little more depth, Bulgaria's was quite good. And Italy, though I don't really understand the lyrics, it's sung in Italian, Italy was great. It was supposed to be a front runner. It had a dancing gorilla in a bow tie. How could you not love that? The problem is that somehow Portugal started getting all the votes. When it came time for the countries to vote for their favorites, Portugal took an early and commanding lead. And Italy was way behind. And I was like, what happened? I thought Italy was going to win this year. And as I'm like complaining live on Twitter, I saw someone tweeted, they retweeted somebody that said that apparently Portugal can afford to host it next year, and they made that known to everyone, and that's why they're winning. And that's why they won. Because that's the problem. That's the one thing that my husband does not like and has trouble accepting about Eurovision, is that the voting has nothing to do with the singer or the song. It's all political. Countries vote for their friends and neighbors, or in this case, if a country is, like, because there are smaller countries that will never win Eurovision because their country simply cannot afford to host it the following year. Although I feel like that's happened, and then I know the UK has hosted it more times than they've won. So like if a smaller country gets it and they can't afford to host it, then the UK is like, hey, we'll do it. Because it brings in like a ton of money for the host country. For tourism and everything. I would love to go, if I could afford to. But that'll never happen, unless I win the lottery. Yeah, so Portugal, I guess, said, hey, we can afford to host it, we'd love to do it, if y'all want to vote for us, we'd be happy to accept your votes and host it next year, thanks a lot. The problem was that I hated Portugal's song. It's this treacly little ballad, and it's like the guy sings it, and he's like in this oversized suit coat, and he's all twitchy, and it's like, it's all very heartfelt, but it's like so creepy looking. It drove me up the wall. And I deleted it off the album right away, because I was like, I can't stand this song. It's one of the ones that I just can't stand, so there's a bunch of songs where I'm like, nope, don't like this one. I'll always skip it. So after I skip it a few times, I just delete it, so I don't have to skip it anymore. And worse, when he won, he gets up on stage and is like, thank you. Now, our song was, heartfelt and genuine and real music. And hopefully this is a trend where now we can start to appreciate real music instead of this tacky cookie-cutter pop music that everyone else is doing. And I'm just like, dude, way to bite the hand that feeds ya. Eurovision is all about the fireworks and the pop music and fun. You're not supposed to take it that seriously. So I already didn't like the song, and now I don't like him because that comment was just outrageous. And I was like, So, whatever. So, that's annoying, but what are you going to do? I have a bunch of new pop songs to listen to, not that Portugal song, but I have a lot of other ones that I quite enjoyed, and I will continue to listen to because they're great. So, I recommend checking out Sweden. Greece is also really good this year. They've had a bunch of clunkers, but this year they came out with a real banger. Good stuff. And then, like, Albania and Azerbaijan had really good songs, too. So, check them out. Go to YouTube, watch them. They're awesome. So, on to gaming, because this is a gaming podcast, after all. But it's also gay, so Eurovision. People call it the Gay Olympics. As far as gaming, I've made a little bit of progress in Breath of the Wild still, because as you know, I'm only playing that portably now. So I don't play it as much as I did in the beginning. Because I'm also trying to stretch it out so that I can take it with me on my 4th of July trip to Massachusetts and have something to do on the bus for 5 hours. It'll help make it go really quickly. I've done a few extra side quests, and I finally finished the shrine quest that I was trying to figure out. I actually had to cheat a little bit, and I went online to look it up, and I was like, how do I get the sphere to put it in the thing and activate the shrine? It's like right there, but the game wouldn't let me touch it. It was in a house in Kakariko Village, and I found out that in fact you had to do all the side quests in Kakariko Village before it would activate the side quest that would let you get that sphere. And I had missed one of the side quests, as it turns out, because I had never gone into this person's house in the middle of the night to have her activate her side quest. So, you gotta be thorough in this game. So, I did that, and then it was fine, and it wasn't that hard. So, yay, finished another side quest. I always feel very accomplished. I'm making much more progress in Horizon Zero Dawn. Although I did hit a couple of points where, like, the game, when you scan a machine, it tells you what level that machine is at. So if you're, like, level 10, and this machine is level 18, you might want to avoid it. It also tells you the level when you're looking at the quests, and the side quests, and the errands. Like, if you're level 14, and this is a level 25 area, like, let's wait and do that quest later. It might be a little hard right now. So, but what I found was weird is that, like, the main story quests, like, I'm already at, like, level 23 or 24, and the main story quest was 14. And I'm like, I should probably do this level 14 quest now that I'm, like, 10 levels above it. But getting to the quests takes you through all these dangerous areas where there's a lot of enemies that are much more powerful, which kind of threw me. But you can usually avoid them, and it's fine. But I did, like, a main story quest that I think was, like, level 13 or 14, or maybe even 16. But whatever, I'm, like, in my 20s now, so it should have been fine. But I had no trouble taking out the human enemies. Little headshot, they're very effective. I love a headshot. I will always get the headshot trophy in a game, if there is such a thing, because I'm always aiming for the head. Because it's more efficient, really. But there were 2 corruptor machines that were a complete bitch to take out. And I couldn't stealth them because they're too big, and you can't. The smaller machines you can stealth kill in one hit, which is awesome. The bigger ones you can't. You can stealth attack them, but then they don't go down, they're just hurt a little, and then they attack you right away. So I ended up on a platform, hiding behind a rock, just shooting arrow after arrow at these two machines until finally they went down. I had to craft extra arrows because I kept running out of ammo. It was taking so long. I was like, oh my god. So it was super tedious, and I feel like there must have been a trick to taking them out that I wasn't aware of, that I didn't have to spend quite so many arrows wasting my time and arrows. But it's sort of weird, but I eventually took them out and was able to continue the game. But I got a little nervous. I'm like, this is really hard. And there was also a side quest that I did where I stealthed in, took out the machines, cutscene came on, I thought, yay, awesome, give me my reward. But then there was a twist, and there was a second part to the quest, and these glint hawks came flying in, these big flying machines, and I was like, god dang it. And you couldn't hide from them because they'd already seen you. So I died a few times, and then I finally said, let me just, like, run and hide in the house and see if they'll, like, calm down, and then I can sneak outside, and then I can try to stealth them. Though it's harder to stealth the flying ones, obviously, because they're not there. But from the house, I ended up just shooting them with arrows until they all went down, and then I finished it. But that's what I like about open-world games, is you have the freedom to play them in the way that you like. The good ones, anyway. Some of them are open-world, but they're still quite linear in how you need to progress through them. Something like Horizon or like Breath of the Wild, there's different ways you can use the physics of the game to your advantage and, you know, play the game the way you want. I remember the first game that I ever felt like this with was Deus Ex. I was like, this game is amazing. Like, if you want to go in guns blazing, you can go in guns blazing. But if you want to sneak around and hack terminals and pick locks, you could do that too, and that's the easier way to do it. For me. I don't like to go in guns blazing because I'll get killed. So, for something like Horizon, I appreciate that here's this quest, and you try it this way, you die. You try it that way, you die. And you just keep saying, well, what if I did it like this? What if I don't try to stealth? What if I hit them from far away with arrows, and it'll take a lot of arrows, but I can at least do it. Finally. Eventually. So, I really like that. And that is... I really appreciate that aspect of Horizon Zero Dawn's gameplay, that they've embraced the open world, and I have the ability to play the game the way that I like to play games. And I can use my own strengths, because I'm not always that good with the actual combat, so I need to cheat a little, and use the game to cheat. But you're not cheating, because you're playing it regularly. I'm not using cheat codes or anything. I'm just taking advantage of the open worldness of it. So, I'm still enjoying it quite a bit, surprisingly. Come back next week and see if I still am. Actually, next week I'm hoping I'll be able to talk about what I did last weekend, which I normally would have talked about this weekend, but I'm saving it because I want to see if I can get my friend to come on the show with me, and I'll have a special guest, and then we can talk about it together. If not, I might just have to talk about it myself next week, but we'll see. So, come back next week and see what happens. Bye!